Time was, beavers were indeed the makings of fur coats to protect against the cold. But there's a lot more to the beaver than that. Turns out, eager is an understatement. Here's Luke Burbank.
Leila Philip remembers the exact moment it happened. She was walking her dog near her home in Connecticut.
And we were about right over there, and she froze. And next thing I knew, there was this crack. I thought a gun had gone off.
The sound was actually a beaver slapping its tail on the water to let her know she was in its neighborhood.
I looked and I saw, oh my God, it's filling with water. And then I saw trees were coming down over there. It was just incredible. It was one of the most amazing things I'd ever seen. And it was the beavers making their pond.
That was the moment Philip went from not thinking about beavers very much to becoming more or less obsessed. The result, her book, Beaverland, How One Weird Rodent Made America.
It's just incredible, the change that they bring into the land. And this is why they're called ecosystem engineers.
And in creating their own ecosystems, beavers actually do a lot for humans, slowing down water flow and creating wider, wetter environments.
It's so dry out there, that's fuel, like that is fire fuel. And then you get into here and I mean the water, it's not going to burn. Emily
Fairfax is assistant professor at the University of Minnesota, where she studies beavers, often in the bone-dry and sometimes wildfire-prone West.
If you look at these plants, if you pinch them, they are so full of water. The tissues are green and lush, and they're not withering, they're not crinkly, and like that's hard to burn. You don't want to start a fire with wet material, and this is obviously very wet.
You're pretty certain there are beavers here because, of course, we have a dam, we have a lodge, but we also have, what did you just find?
I just found a beaver poop. And so these really highlight what beavers eat and what they don't eat, because if you look carefully, it's just plant material. It's just sawdust, like a little sawdust marshmallow, and it's pretty fresh. So we know the beavers have been here working recently because they're leaving poops in the water.
You really just handed me a beaver turd?
Did.
And I'm holding
Welcome to the field.
Kind of woody.
Yeah.
Fairfax says if we could see the California of 500 years ago with plentiful beaver, we'd see a greener landscape that would burn less easily.
Pre-European fur trade, the estimate is that there were between 100 million and 400 million beavers in North America. And for perspective, that's like about a beaver per kilometer of habitable stream. And that's like squirrels. They were everywhere.
But beaver fur was incredibly valuable to the Western explorers of North America.
Beaver felt was the Gore-Tex of its day. Everybody needed a beaver hat. You need to think of Mr. Darcy in London with the top hat. George Washington with his tricorn hat. That was made out of beaver felt. Beaver felt was incredibly valuable.
Native Americans hunted beaver, but in a way that allowed their populations to still thrive. That all changed when John Jacob Astor landed in New York.
John Jacob Astor comes over, his famous story of him coming over with 7 flutes, thinking he's going to start a music business. He overhears on board this ship people talking about fantastic sums they can make trading this item in London that they can get in North America for nothing. And he figures out it's beaver, and that's the beginning of America's first multimillionaire.
In just 100 years, the population of North American beaver dropped to near extinction levels, leading to all kinds of attempts to rebuild their numbers, including some truly bizarre ideas.
The plane makes a careful approach, ready for the drop.
In the 1950s, Idaho wildlife officials launched Operation Geronimo, parachuting almost 80 beavers into the backcountry, hoping they'd repopulate. And sure enough, it and other less high-flying reintroduction efforts seem to be working, according to Leila Philip.
The beaver is one of North America's great success stories. They're a conservation comeback story, and that's why we have beavers now. And beavers have this great new role to play because they can help us with every environmental problem we have that's being accelerated by climate change, fire and drought and flood.
That's right. It may seem counterintuitive, but beaver dams actually reduce catastrophic flooding by sending more water into the ground. Still, Of course, not everyone loves a beaver pond springing up on their property or near their kids' baseball field, but there are non-lethal ways to coexist with our furry neighbors, says Philip, like something called a pond leveler.
Well, it's really beautifully simple. You basically put a pipe through the dam. It's like a permanent leak in the dam, and you lower the level of the pond.
Meanwhile, back at that original pond, the one that got Leila Philip so obsessed, those beavers have moved on, leaving behind an ecosystem better than they found it. Something we humans might do well to consider ourselves.
Even this beaver meadow is so much richer with life and more full of water than before. So it's pretty remarkable.